Breaking news out of Cupertino: Apple is making moves, and the iPhone Air just got a whole lot more interesting. That's right, folks, Apple Incorporated is doubling down on one of its most anticipated and controversial product lines yet, the iPhone Air, and the company is pulling out all the stops to make sure this ultra-slim device doesn't just turn heads, it dominates the conversation in the smartphone world. Let's break this down right now. For months, the iPhone Air has been sitting at a fascinating crossroads. On one side, you have tech enthusiasts absolutely drooling over the idea of Apple's thinnest iPhone ever conceived. On the other side, skeptics have been raising serious questions about battery life, about processing power, about whether Apple is sacrificing too much substance for the sake of sleek aesthetics. And Apple has clearly heard those concerns loud and clear, because the upgrades being reported right now suggest the company is in full damage control and innovation mode simultaneously. Here's what we're talking about. Apple is reportedly looking at significant hardware and software enhancements specifically designed to elevate the iPhone Air experience beyond what anyone initially expected from this razor-thin form factor. The core challenge has always been this: how do you pack premium, flagship-worthy performance into a device that's pushing the absolute physical boundaries of smartphone engineering? Apple's engineers are apparently working overtime to answer exactly that question. Battery efficiency is front and center in these reported upgrades. The iPhone Air's svelte design naturally limits the physical battery capacity you can cram inside, and that has been arguably the loudest criticism surrounding this device since the very first leaks emerged. Apple is said to be leveraging advanced chip optimization and power management software to squeeze every single milliamp of performance out of what limited battery real estate exists inside that impossibly thin chassis. This is Apple betting heavily on the intelligence of its silicon rather than raw physical capacity. And speaking of silicon, the processing story here is equally compelling. Apple's latest generation chip architecture is expected to play a starring role in making the iPhone Air punch far above its weight class. We're talking about a device that looks fragile enough to bend but is reportedly being engineered to deliver performance metrics that could genuinely surprise even hardcore Apple loyalists who've been dismissive of the Air lineup from day one. Camera improvements are also reportedly in the pipeline, which is significant because photography capability has become arguably the single most important battleground in smartphone competition right now. Apple knows that consumers aren't just buying phones, they're buying pocket-sized content creation studios. If the iPhone Air can deliver a camera experience that rivals its heavier siblings, that changes the entire value proposition of this device overnight. Now let's talk market context here, because this matters enormously. Apple is navigating a smartphone market that is simultaneously saturated and fiercely competitive. Samsung, Google, and a wave of aggressive Chinese manufacturers are all fighting for consumer dollars with increasingly sophisticated hardware offerings. The iPhone Air represents Apple's calculated bet that there is a massive, underserved market segment of consumers who desperately want premium Apple quality wrapped in the most minimal, lightweight package physically possible. These are the consumers who've always loved MacBook Air's philosophy: powerful, portable, and impossibly elegant. From an investor perspective, the stakes couldn't be higher. Apple's stock performance is deeply tied to iPhone sales momentum, and a strong iPhone Air launch with compelling upgrades could inject serious energy into the company's revenue trajectory heading into the crucial holiday sales cycle. Apple has never been a company that simply accepts limitations, it redefines them. And with these reported upgrades to the iPhone Air, it appears Cupertino is once again betting that they can make the impossible look effortless. The real question isn't whether Apple can make the iPhone Air thinner, the question is whether they can make you forget it is.